What's up, folks? Welcome to Woodworking Against the Grain. Look here, it's almost Thanksgiving. Today, we're going to make one of the best Thanksgiving carrot cakes you ever laid eyes on or ever sunk your teeth into. It's not your run-of-the-mill carrot cake. This carrot cake is kicked up several notches above normal. I want you to watch how we do this. I want you to make your family one for Thanksgiving. They'll love you for it. We're going to start off with the basics right here. Find me a sifter. We're going to start off by sifting our dry stuff together here. I got 2 1/4 cups all-purpose flour right there going in that sifter. Now, this is important for your dry stuff here. This cake has a lot of different flavors going on in it, and these flavors are crucial for this to be as good as I want it to turn out, all right? Right here, we've got a 1/2 teaspoon of ground cloves. Put that right on top of the flour. We got 2 teaspoons of baking soda, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, because this cake's kind of heavy. It takes a little bit of that to get it to rise up. 2 teaspoons of ground cinnamon going in the flour. All this is dry stuff going together, going to get sifted together. 1/2 teaspoon of salt so it won't be bland. Very important step right there, that salt. Now here's where I want to talk to you about something. This right here, you can see that, is a 1/2 teaspoon of ground nutmeg. It's awesome stuff right there. Now, you've probably got ground nutmeg in your cabinet. It's probably as old as the family pet because you don't use it very often. Go find it, throw it in the trash, and get you some fresh nutmeg like this and a little grater like this, and grate your nutmeg as you need it. The freshness of that, the difference in the flavor of this and ground from the store 40-year-old nutmeg is not even to be compared. So treat yourself to about a $2 grater and some fresh nutmeg. You can buy that in any store where spices are sold, and you'll be amazed at how much better your recipes are that call for nutmeg. Now, we got all our dry stuff in this sifter right here. We're going to sift this a few times to get the lumps out of it and to get all of the dry stuff thoroughly mixed together. That's the point of sifting. You get little lumps that won't go through that, you need to throw them away. That's why you sift. We get that one time, we're going to pour it back through into a bigger bowl till we can't really tell where the cinnamon and the nutmeg and the cloves is located in the flour. We want that distributed really well. A lot of people don't sift this much, but I find that it makes your cake a lot better if you do. We get all this sifted together. Now you can see, I hope you can see that our flour has kind of turned just a little bit darker due to those colors of the cinnamon and the nutmeg and the cloves. Now we got our dry stuff. We're going to just let that sit right there. Right here in the mixture, we're going to put 2 1/4 cups of granulated sugar in there. We're going to turn that on slow. We're going to add 1 1/3 cups of good oil. You can use whatever kind of oil you want to, vegetable oil, whatever. I'm using a pretty good quality coconut oil for this right here. Now, you want to let that mix around in there for a little while. Use ingredients that you can get a hold of that are as fresh as possible. Now, I'm going to put 4 eggs in this in just a minute, and these eggs were laid yesterday evening by our chickens, so they're pretty fresh. If you can get fresh eggs, always use fresh if you can find it. Another thing that makes this cake so good, right here I've got 20 ounces of really finely grated petite carrots. The younger the carrot you can find, the sweeter it will be. So if you're going to go to the trouble to make a carrot cake like this, go ahead and buy the small baby carrots. They're really sweet. They really make this cake good. Now once this butter and oil gets mixed up pretty good here, we're going to add these 4 eggs. We're going to add them one at a time, let it mix in there good. It's almost Thanksgiving. You want to try to get this recipe going so you can have that for Thanksgiving dinner. It's off the chain. But if you do some prep work first, you can grate these carrots up the night before and put them in the refrigerator. Just cover them with some plastic wrap and have that ready to go. I got a cup of really good crushed pineapple here that's been drained well. We're going to add that to it here in just a minute. Your cake pans for this recipe are important. Right here I got 2 9-inch pans. If you use 8-inch pans, you're going to want to use 3. But I've got 2 8-inch here, and the bottom of them is lined with parchment paper. That's the only guaranteed way that your cake won't stick in the pan. You can grease it and flour it, or you can grease it and sugar it, and you might get lucky and it come on out. You put this parchment paper under it, it won't stick, you ain't got to worry about it. I recommend it. Parchment paper lined cake pans. And these are non-stick pans. So we got a double whammy there. They shouldn't stick on us at all. Now, we got this butter or this oil and sugar creamed up pretty good here together. So what we're going to do now is slow that down. Real slow, about on 1 on the mixer there. I'm going to turn this mixer a little bit. You won't be able to see what I'm doing that well. But now I'm going to spoon this dry stuff into this cake batter. Let that mix just a little bit. We don't want to overbeat it once we get all this in there. We just want to get it mixed up good. Now what we want to do, raise that up and get it back around here where you can see a little bit. We're going to add this cup of crushed pineapple that's been drained really well. We're going to start that real slow, and then we're just going to add these carrots a little bit at a time till we get them all in there. The ones we don't sling all over the house like that. Now, I got this ready to go into our cake pan. Let me tell you what's going to make this cake so good. One of the reasons I like this cake better than I do your average carrot cake is because we're going to put a white chocolate cream cheese icing on this when it gets done. And then we're going to encrust the entire cake, sides and top, with crushed up toasted walnuts. And that is an icing that'll make you want to slap your mama. Don't slap your mama because that's ugly, but it'll make you want to. The best way that I know of to get the air out of one of these is get you kind of a thick dish towel and drop your cake pans on it a few times. Force all the air out of the bottom of that, and it also, on a thick batter like this, makes it level. See how that kind of turned out good and level there? Gets kind of annoying, don't it? Now, we're going to put these in the oven, 350 degrees, till the wooden toothpick stuck in the middle of it comes out clean. Probably 35, 40 minutes. Check them after 30. They need a little bit more, let them go. Then, once they come out, we get them cooling on a rack. We're going to make that white chocolate cream cheese icing and smear it on the cake and encrust it in toasted walnuts, and then we're going to have us a piece of it with a cup of coffee. Happy Thanksgiving. Stay with us. All right, we got our cake out of the oven. We got it chilling a little bit. We're going to make up this icing right quick. I wish you could smell it in here. There's something about the smell of ground cinnamon and nutmeg, and especially the aroma of cloves that just makes it feel like the holidays. I don't know if any of you can remember old-timey clove candy. That's what the kitchen smells like when you're baking this cake. It makes your mouth water. Now, I've got 3 8-ounce packages of room temperature cream cheese in this mixer. We're going to whoop that up till it gets a little bit smooth. And then right here I have got a pound, you can see that a little bit, of melted white chocolate. Now this is not almond bark. This is a good quality premium white chocolate. We're going to drizzle this in with this cream cheese when it gets mixed together good. And then we're going to add some butter. You see how yellow that butter is right there? That's butter that we made from milk from our own Jersey cow. That's good stuff right there. I've got a stick and a half, or the equivalent of a stick and a half of butter, a pound of white chocolate melted, 3 packages of cream cheese, room temperature, in the mixer here. It's just about to come together. I'm going to scrape the sides down one time. We're just going to add this chocolate a little bit at a time till we get it all in there, mixed in with that cream cheese. And then we're going to put this butter in there with it. Now we're going to add this butter just kind of a spoonful at a time. Get that all mixed through there. That is some good butter right there that our cow Clarabelle gave us the milk for. When this reaches the consistency that you want for smearing icing, that's when you're going to want to put it on the cake. You may have to chill it just for a few minutes if the chocolate is still warm enough that it'll run down the sides of the cake. Just set this mixing bowl in your refrigerator for a few minutes, not too long. You don't want it to get so cool that it won't spread. But if it's a little bit warm, put it in there just long enough for it to get down to a good spreading temperature. Always taste it to make sure what you're doing is good to eat. I got butter everywhere here. One thing I can do cooking is make a mess. Don't run off. Alright, we got our cake iced here. I didn't video the actual smearing the icing on here because I had to make a disclaimer here. I am not a cake decorator. I can make a cake that's pretty good to eat, but I don't necessarily make one that's all that pretty to look at, especially when it comes to fancying up the icing. I'm lucky to get it on there without it falling all over everywhere, so I'll leave that. I admire people who can decorate cakes. I'm just not one of them. My best attribute about a cake is that I can eat one pretty good. Now, I am going to video this so you know how to do this. It's a little bit messy. So if you know that going in, if you don't want to get your hands dirty, you may want to skip this step or hire somebody to put this on for you or whatever. But what we're going to do now is just take these crushed walnuts, and you can see that they're crushed up kind of coarse, but fairly small too. Now this is going to make a little bit of a mess when I show you what we're going to do here in just once we get this top covered up good here. You want these kind of small where it'll stick to that icing a little bit. Now, you want to get you some in your hand, and you just want to start sticking it to the sides of this cake icing. And it's going to make a mess. You can clean that up after you get through. I want you to see how this is going to look. Just bring them on around. Put them on there and let them stick. I told you going into this, it was going to make a mess. Alright, look here. We got our cake finished up. Got a lot of crushed walnuts on top of it there. Got our mess cleaned up. That's the way it's going to look when you get finished with it. Turns out really, really well. Got a little taste piece of it here. I want you to see that. A lot of good color in that cake. Icing's good and thick. You got a week. Get your Thanksgiving on. Get you one of these. Make it up. You can put it in the fridge a day or two ahead of time and then take it out and ice it before Thanksgiving, and you won't be rushed. It's a very moist cake. A lot of good flavors going on in there. A lot of good holiday aroma. You're going to want some of this. Thanks for watching. Come back to see us.